Hello everyone. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and deciding to spend your time with me today. My name is Kenrick, and I am so excited to be here with you. You know, I created this channel because I understand something very important. I understand that learning English is not easy. I understand that many people struggle with speaking English. And I understand that you are here because you want to improve. You want to speak English better. You want to feel more confident when you talk to people in English. And that is exactly what we are going to work on together. Today, we are going to talk about something that I think is the most important skill in language learning. We are going to talk about speaking. More specifically, we are going to talk about how to talk in English. Now, I know this might seem like a simple topic. You might be thinking, well, talking is just talking, right? You open your mouth and words come out. But actually, speaking English well is much more complex than that. And by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly what you need to do to become a better English speaker. You are going to have a complete roadmap, a complete plan that you can follow step by step. Before we dive deep into all the methods and techniques, I want to ask you to do something for me. If you find this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps me a lot. It tells YouTube that this video is good, and then YouTube will show it to more people who need help with their English. Also, please subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell. I am going to make many more videos like this to help you with your English learning journey. And I don't want you to miss any of them. Okay. Great. Now let's get started. So let me begin by asking you a question. And I want you to really think about this question. Are you ready? Here is the question: can you understand English? When you watch English movies or videos, can you understand what people are saying? When you read English texts or articles, can you understand the meaning? I think for most of you watching this video, the answer is yes. At least to some degree, you can understand English. Maybe not everything, but you can understand quite a lot, am I right? Now let me ask you another question. Can you speak English? Can you express your thoughts and ideas in English fluently? Can you have a natural conversation with an English speaker without feeling nervous or stuck? For this question, I think many of you might say no, or maybe you say yes but not very well. And this is completely normal. This is the situation for millions of English learners around the world. They can understand English quite well, but when it comes to speaking, they struggle. They feel frustrated. They feel like something is blocking them. So why is this happening? Why is speaking so much harder than understanding? This is actually a very interesting question, and I want to spend some time explaining this to you. Because when you understand why something is difficult, it becomes easier to find the solution. It becomes easier to know what to do to improve. Think about it this way. When you are reading English, what are you doing? You are looking at words on a page or on a screen. These words are not moving. They are staying still. You can read them slowly. You can read them again if you don't understand. You can even use a dictionary to look up words you don't know. You have all the time in the world. There is no pressure. Nobody is waiting for you. You can take 5 minutes to read one sentence if you want to. This is why reading is easier. Now what about listening? When you listen to English, yes, it is more difficult than reading because you cannot control the speed. The speaker talks at their own speed, and you need to follow. But still, you are only receiving information. You are only taking in what someone else is saying. Your brain only needs to do one job, which is to understand the meaning of the words you hear. You don't need to create anything. You don't need to produce anything. You are passive in this process. But speaking is completely different. When you speak, you are not passive anymore. You are active. You are creating something. You are producing language. and this requires your brain to do so many things at the same time. Let me break it down for you so you can see how complex it really is. First, you need to have an idea. You need to know what you want to say. This might sound obvious, but it is actually the first step. Before any words come out of your mouth, you need to have a thought or a message in your mind. Sometimes this is easy. For example, if someone asks you what your name is, you know immediately what you want to say. But sometimes it is harder. Maybe you want to express a complex opinion, or maybe you want to tell a story. You need to organize your thoughts first. Second, after you have an idea, you need to find the right words to express that idea. This is where vocabulary becomes very important. You need to search through all the English words you know and find the ones that match your meaning. Sometimes you know the word easily. But sometimes you know what you want to say, but you don't know the English word for it. Or maybe you know the word, but you cannot remember it at that moment. This happens to everyone, even to native speakers sometimes. They say things like, "What's that word? Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue." This is normal, but it makes speaking difficult. Third, you need to put those words in the correct order. You need to make a sentence. And in English, word order is very important. You cannot just put words randomly and hope people will understand. You need to follow grammar rules. You need to think about the subject, the verb, the object. You need to think about tenses. Are you talking about the past, the present, or the future? You need to think about singular and plural. You need to think about articles like a, an, and the. There are so many grammar rules to remember. Fourth, you need to pronounce the words correctly. This is another big challenge. English pronunciation is not easy. Many sounds in English might not exist in your native language. For example, the th sound is very difficult for many learners. Also, English has many words that are spelled the same but pronounced differently, or words that are pronounced the same but spelled differently. And don't forget about stress and intonation. You need to stress the right syllable in each word. You need to use the right tone to show if you are asking a question or making a statement. And here is the most difficult part, you need to do all of these things quickly. In a real conversation, you don't have 5 minutes to prepare your sentence. People are waiting for your response. There is pressure. There is time pressure. If you take too long to speak, the conversation becomes awkward. The other person might think you don't understand, or they might lose interest. So your brain is working very hard, trying to do all these steps as fast as possible. Now do you see why speaking is so difficult? It is not just one skill. It is actually many skills combined together. And you need to use all of them at the same time. This is why even though you can understand English quite well, speaking feels so hard. Your brain is not trained yet to do all these things quickly and smoothly. But here is the thing I want you to understand, and this is very important. Just because speaking is difficult does not mean you cannot learn it. Just because it feels hard right now does not mean it will always be hard. Speaking English is a skill, just like riding a bicycle or swimming or playing a musical instrument. When you first try to ride a bicycle, you fall down many times. It feels impossible. You think you will never be able to do it. But with practice, it becomes easier. And eventually, it becomes automatic. You don't even think about it anymore. You just do it. The same is true for speaking English. The key is practice. But not just any practice. You need the right kind of practice. You need effective practice. And that is exactly what I am going to teach you in this video. I am going to show you many different ways to practice speaking English. Some of these methods you can do alone. Some of them you can do with other people. Some of them are free. Some of them might cost a little money. But all of them work. I have seen hundreds of students improve their speaking using these methods. And I know they will work for you too. But before we get to the methods, I need to talk to you about something very important. I need to talk to you about the biggest mistake that English learners make. This mistake is so common, and it stops so many people from improving their speaking. If you are making this mistake right now, don't worry. Most people make this mistake. But after today, you are going to stop making it. Are you ready to hear what this mistake is? The biggest mistake is this: people study English, but they don't practice speaking English. Let me say that again because it is so important. People study English, but they don't practice speaking English. What do I mean by this? Well, many learners spend a lot of time learning grammar rules. They read grammar books. They do grammar exercises. They memorize lists of vocabulary words. They write down new words in notebooks. They watch English videos. They listen to English podcasts. They read English articles. And all of these activities are good. They are helpful. I am not saying you should stop doing them. But here is the problem. All of these activities are passive. You are receiving information. You are learning about English. But you are not actually using English. You are not producing language. You are not speaking. And if you want to learn how to speak, you must practice speaking. It is that simple. You cannot learn to speak by just studying. It is like trying to learn how to swim by reading a book about swimming. You can read all the books in the world about swimming techniques, but until you actually get in the water and start moving your arms and legs, you will not learn how to swim. The same is true for speaking English. You can study all the grammar rules. You can memorize thousands of vocabulary words. But until you actually open your mouth and start speaking, you will not become a good speaker. I have met so many students who know English grammar better than native speakers. They can explain all the grammar rules perfectly. But when I ask them to have a simple conversation, they cannot do it. They freeze. They get nervous. No words come out. Why? Because they have never practiced speaking. They have only studied about speaking. So if you are someone who spends a lot of time studying English but very little time actually speaking, I want you to change that starting today. I want you to make a commitment to yourself. I want you to promise yourself that you will practice speaking English every single day. Even if it is just for 5 minutes. Even if it is just for 10 minutes. Even if you are alone and nobody is listening. Just practice speaking. This is the most important thing you can do to improve. Now, I know what some of you are thinking right now. You are thinking, but Kenrick, I am afraid to speak English. I am scared of making mistakes. What if I say something wrong? What if people laugh at me? What if I sound stupid? My friend, I understand these fears. I really do. Many people feel this way. Fear of making mistakes is one of the biggest obstacles in language learning. But I want to tell you something that might change your perspective. Making mistakes is not bad. Making mistakes is actually good. Let me explain why. When you make a mistake, what happens? You learn something. Your brain says, "Oh, that was wrong. I need to do it differently next time." And then you remember the correct way. This is how learning works. If you never make mistakes, it means you are only doing things you already know how to do. You are staying in your comfort zone. You are not challenging yourself. You are not growing. Think about when you were a baby learning to speak your native language. Did you speak perfectly from the beginning? Of course not. You made so many mistakes. You said words incorrectly. You mixed up grammar. Your parents probably thought it was cute. They didn't criticize you. They didn't laugh at you in a mean way. They just gently corrected you and helped you learn. And slowly, over time, you got better and better until you could speak fluently. Learning English is the same process. You need to give yourself permission to make mistakes. You need to accept that mistakes are a natural and necessary part of learning. Every single person who speaks English fluently today, even native speakers, made thousands of mistakes when they were learning. Every single one. There are no exceptions. So why should you be any different? I want to share something with you. Even native English speakers make mistakes sometimes. Yes, it is true. They might use the wrong grammar in casual conversation. They might forget a word and say or while they try to remember it. They might mispronounce something. This is normal human behavior. Language is not about being perfect. Language is about communication. It is about expressing your ideas and connecting with other people. As long as the other person understands what you mean, you have succeeded. So please, my friend, let go of your fear of making mistakes. Don't let this fear stop you from speaking. Remember, every mistake is a step forward. Every mistake is a learning opportunity. The only real mistake is not trying at all. If you never speak because you are afraid of making mistakes, then you will never improve. But if you speak every day, even if you make mistakes, you will get better and better. I promise you this. Another thing I want to mention is that most people are not going to judge you for making mistakes in English. Think about it. If you meet someone who is trying to speak your native language, and they make some mistakes, do you think they are stupid? Do you laugh at them? Probably not. Instead, you probably feel impressed that they are trying to learn your language. You probably want to help them. You probably think it is nice that they are making an effort. Other people will feel the same way about you when you speak English. Most people are kind and supportive. They want to help you learn. Of course, there might be some rude people out there who make fun of others for making mistakes. But those people are not worth your time or energy. They are not good people. You should not care about their opinions. Focus on the positive people who encourage you and support you. Focus on your own progress and improvement. That is what matters. Alright, so now we have talked about why speaking is difficult, and we have talked about the biggest mistakes that learners make. Now it is time to talk about solutions. Now it is time to talk about what you should actually do to improve your speaking. I am going to share with you many different methods and techniques. Some of them might work better for you than others. Everyone is different. Everyone has different learning styles and preferences. So I want you to try different methods and see which ones you like best. The important thing is that you practice consistently. Consistency is the secret to success. Let me start with one of my favorite methods, and it is something you can do right now, today, without spending any money and without needing another person. This method is talking to yourself. Yes, you heard me right. Talk to yourself in English. Now, when I first tell people about this method, many of them think it sounds strange or weird. They say, talk to myself? Won't people think I am crazy? But actually, talking to yourself is a very powerful learning technique. And you don't have to do it in public where people can hear you. You can do it when you are alone at home. You can do it in your room. You can do it in your car. Nobody will know. So how does this work? It is actually very simple. When you are alone, just start speaking in English about anything. Talk about what you are doing right now. Talk about what you did today. Talk about your plans for tomorrow. Talk about your thoughts and feelings. Talk about what you see around you. It doesn't matter what you talk about. The important thing is that you are using your mouth, you are making sounds, you are forming sentences, and you are thinking in English. Let me give you some specific examples so you can understand better. Let's say you wake up in the morning. You can start talking to yourself right away. You can say, "Good morning. Today is Monday. I need to go to work today. But first, I need to take a shower. The water is nice and warm. Now I need to get dressed. What should I wear today? Maybe I will wear my blue shirt and black pants. Okay, now I need to make breakfast. I think I will make some eggs and toast. I am also going to make some coffee because I am still tired. Do you see what I am doing here? I am just describing everything I am doing in simple English. I am narrating my life like I am the narrator in a movie. This is very good practice because it gets you comfortable with speaking. It makes speaking feel natural and normal. And because you are alone, there is no pressure. You don't need to worry about making mistakes. You don't need to worry about what other people think. You can just focus on expressing yourself. You can also use this method to practice describing things around you. Look at an object in your room and try to describe it in as much detail as possible. For example, let's say you look at your phone. You can say, "This is my phone. It is a smartphone. The brand is Samsung. It has a black color. The screen is quite big. I use this phone every single day. I use it to call my friends and family. I use it to send messages. I use it to check social media. I use it to watch videos on YouTube. I also use it to listen to music. My phone is very important to me. I don't know what I would do without it. Actually, I think I spend too much time on my phone. Maybe I should try to use it less." See how I started with simple description and then I added more and more details? I talked about what the phone looks like, what I use it for, how I feel about it, and even some opinions about my phone usage. This is great practice because you are using different types of language. You are using descriptive language, action verbs, and opinion expressions. All of these are important for real conversations. Another way to use the talking to yourself method is to practice having imaginary conversations. This might sound even more strange, but trust me, it works very well. Think about a situation where you might need to speak English. Maybe you need to order food at a restaurant. Maybe you need to ask for directions. Maybe you need to make a phone call to make an appointment. Maybe you need to have a job interview. Whatever situation you can think of, practice it by yourself first. Let me show you an example. Let's say you are planning to go to a restaurant tomorrow, and you want to practice ordering food. You can have an imaginary conversation like this. First, you play the role of the waiter. You say, "Good evening. Welcome to our restaurant. Do you have a reservation?" Then you switch and play yourself. You say, "No, I don't have a reservation. Do you have a table for 2 people?" Then you become the waiter again. You say, "Yes, we do. Please follow me. Here is your table. Here are the menus. Can I get you something to drink?" Then you become yourself. You say, "Yes, I would like a glass of water, please. And can I also have a look at the wine list?" You can continue this imaginary conversation for as long as you want. You can practice ordering your food, asking questions about the menu, requesting the bill, and so on. The beautiful thing about this method is that you can practice any situation you want. You can prepare yourself for real-life scenarios. And when you actually find yourself in that situation in real life, you will feel much more confident because you have already practiced it many times. Now let me talk about another excellent method for practicing speaking English on your own. This method is reading out loud. Reading out loud is different from just reading silently in your head. When you read out loud, you are using your voice. You are practicing pronunciation. You are training your mouth muscles to make English sounds. And this is very important. You see, speaking is not just a mental activity. It is also a physical activity. Your tongue, your lips, your jaw, your throat, all of these parts of your body need to work together to produce speech sounds. And if you never practice using these muscles for English sounds, they will not be ready when you need to speak. It is like if you want to run a marathon but you never practice running. Your legs will not be strong enough. Your muscles will not be trained. The same is true for speaking. You need to train your speaking muscles. So what should you read out loud? You can read anything in English. You can read news articles. You can read blog posts. You can read stories or novels. You can read the subtitles when you watch videos. You can even read social media posts if you want. The content doesn't matter so much. What matters is that you are reading out loud and paying attention to how you sound. When you read out loud, try to focus on a few things. First, focus on pronunciation. Are you pronouncing each word correctly? If you are not sure how to pronounce a word, look it up. You can use online dictionaries that have audio pronunciation. Listen to how native speakers say the word, and then try to copy it. Don't just guess. Take the time to learn the correct pronunciation. This will save you problems later. Second, focus on rhythm and flow. English has a certain rhythm to it. Some words are stressed more than others. Some syllables are longer, some are shorter. When you read out loud, try to sound natural. Don't read like a robot, saying each word with the same emphasis. Instead, try to read like you are having a conversation. Put stress on the important words. Use natural pauses between phrases and sentences. Third, focus on intonation. Intonation means the rise and fall of your voice. In English, intonation is very important for meaning. For example, when you ask a yes or no question, your voice usually goes up at the end. When you make a statement, your voice usually goes down at the end. When you read out loud, try to use appropriate intonation. This will make your English sound much more natural. Here is a specific exercise you can try. Find a short video of a native English speaker talking. It could be a news report, a speech, or even a scene from a movie. Watch the video once and just listen. Then, watch it again and read along with the subtitles. Try to match your voice to the speaker's voice. Try to copy their pronunciation, their rhythm, their intonation, even their emotion. This is called shadowing, and it is a very effective technique that many language learners use. The great thing about reading out loud is that you can do it for just a few minutes every day and still see improvement. You don't need to spend hours and hours. Even 10 or 15 minutes of reading out loud each day will help you a lot. You can do it in the morning before you start your day. You can do it in the evening before you go to bed. You can do it during your lunch break. Find a time that works for you and make it a daily habit. Now, let me share with you another powerful method, and this one is something that many people don't think about, but it is really important. This method is recording yourself speaking. I know. Many people don't like to hear their own voice. It sounds strange to them. It sounds different from how they think they sound. But recording yourself is one of the best ways to improve your speaking because it gives you objective feedback. Here is what I mean. When you speak, you think you know how you sound. But often, the way you hear yourself in your own head is different from how others hear you. When you record yourself and listen back, you can hear yourself the way other people hear you. And this is very valuable because you can identify your mistakes and weaknesses that you might not notice otherwise. So how do you do this? It is very simple. You can use your phone to record yourself. Every smartphone has a voice recorder app. Just open the app, press record, and start speaking English. You can talk about any topic. You can describe your day. You can talk about your hobbies. You can give your opinion on something. Just speak for 1 or 2 minutes. Don't worry about being perfect. Just speak naturally. Then, after you finish recording, listen to it. Listen carefully. What do you notice? Are there any words you mispronounced? Are there any grammar mistakes? Are you speaking too fast or too slow? Are you using too many filler words like and Are there long pauses where you are trying to think of what to say next? Write down all the things you notice. These are the things you need to work on. The next time you practice speaking, try to improve those specific areas. For example, if you notice that you always forget to use articles like a and the, make a conscious effort to use them correctly in your next practice session. If you notice that you pronounced a certain word incorrectly, practice that word several times until you get it right. This focused practice is very effective because you are working on your actual weaknesses, not just practicing randomly. I recommend recording yourself at least once a week. You can even keep all your recordings and listen to them after a few months. When you compare your old recordings with your new recordings, you will be amazed at how much you have improved. This is very motivating. It shows you that your hard work is paying off. It shows you that you are making real progress. Let me now talk about a method that involves your mind more than your mouth, but it is still very important for speaking. This method is thinking in English. Most English learners think in their native language and then translate to English when they want to speak. This is natural, especially in the beginning. But this translation process takes time and makes speaking slower and more difficult. If you want to speak English fluently, you need to train your brain to think directly in English without translating. Now, I know this sounds difficult. You might be thinking, how can I think in English when my native language is so much easier? But the truth is, thinking in English is a skill that you can develop with practice. And once you develop this skill, your speaking will improve dramatically because you will not waste time translating anymore. The words will come to you more quickly and naturally. So how do you practice thinking in English? You start small. You start with simple things. When you see an object, think of its English name. Don't say the word in your native language first and then translate it. Just think directly in English. For example, when you see a dog, immediately think dog in English. When you see a car, think car. When you see a tree, think tree. This might feel strange at first because your brain is used to thinking in your native language. But with practice, it will become more natural. As you get more comfortable with this, you can start thinking in simple sentences. For example, when you feel hungry, think I am hungry in English. When you feel tired, think I am tired. When you see something beautiful, think that is beautiful. Again, don't translate from your native language. Try to form these thoughts directly in English. Then, you can move on to more complex thoughts. Start planning your day in English in your mind. Think about what you need to do today. Think I need to go to the supermarket. I need to buy some bread and milk. Then I will come home and make lunch. Think about your opinions in English. If you see something on the news, think about what you think about it in English. Think I think this is good or I don't agree with this or this is interesting. The key is to make this a habit. Every time you have a thought, try to have it in English. At first, this will be very difficult and tiring. Your brain might resist because it takes more effort. But over time, as you practice more and more, it will become easier. Eventually, thinking in English will become automatic. You won't even notice you are doing it. And when you reach that point, your speaking will become much more fluent because the words will already be in English in your mind. You won't need to translate anymore. Now let me talk about methods that involve other people. Because as much as practicing alone is important, speaking with other people is also essential. Real conversations with real people are different from talking to yourself or reading out loud. In a real conversation, the other person can respond to you in unexpected ways. They might ask you questions you didn't prepare for. They might use words or expressions you don't know. They might speak faster than you are used to. All of these challenges are good for you because they push you out of your comfort zone and help you improve faster. So where can you find people to practice speaking English with? Let me give you several options. The first option is language exchange partners. A language exchange partner is someone who wants to learn your native language while you want to learn English. You can help each other. You can spend half the time speaking in English and the other half speaking in your language. This way, both of you benefit. How do you find language exchange partners? There are many websites and apps designed for this purpose. Some popular ones are HelloTalk, Tandem, and Speaky. These apps connect language learners from all around the world. You can search for people who speak English and want to learn your language. You can chat with them through text messages, voice messages, or even video calls. Many of these apps are free to use, though some have premium features you can pay for if you want. When you first start doing language exchange, you might feel nervous. That is completely normal. Remember that the other person is also a language learner just like you. They are not there to judge you. They are there to practice and learn, just like you are. So relax and enjoy the conversation. Don't worry if you make mistakes. Just focus on communicating and getting to know the other person. Another option is to find conversation partners who are native English speakers. These are people who speak English as their first language, and they are willing to have conversations with English learners. Some of them do this for free because they enjoy meeting people from different cultures. Others charge money because they are professional teachers or tutors. If you want to find free conversation partners, you can look on websites like conversationexchange.com or mylanguageexchange.com. You can also look for conversation groups on Facebook or other social media platforms. Many cities have English conversation clubs or meetups where people gather to practice speaking English together. You can search online to see if there is one in your area. If you are willing to pay for conversation practice, there are many good options. Websites like italki, Preply, and Verbling connect you with professional teachers and tutors from around the world. You can have one-on-one lessons with them through video call. The prices vary depending on the teacher's experience and qualifications, but you can usually find someone who fits your budget. Even having just 1 or 2 conversation lessons per week can make a big difference in your speaking improvement. Let me also mention online English speaking communities. There are many communities on platforms like Discord, Reddit, and Facebook where English learners gather to practice together. In these communities, people organize voice chat sessions where everyone can join and practice speaking. The great thing about these communities is that everyone there is learning English, so there is no judgment. Everyone is supportive and encouraging. It is a safe space to practice and make mistakes. When you join these communities, I encourage you to be active. Don't just listen to others. Actually participate in the conversations. Share your thoughts and opinions. Ask questions. The more you participate, the more practice you will get, and the faster you will improve. Remember, nobody cares if you make mistakes. Everyone is there to learn and improve together. Now, let me talk about a practice method that is both fun and educational. This method is describing pictures or videos. This is an excellent exercise because it forces you to use a variety of vocabulary and sentence structures. And you can do it alone, so it is very convenient. Here is how it works. Find any picture or video. It can be a photo from the internet, a scene from a movie, or even just something you see around you. Then, try to describe everything you see in as much detail as possible. Don't just say simple things like "I see a tree." Try to be very specific and detailed. For example, let's say you find a picture of a beach. You could describe it like this: "I see a beautiful beach. The sand is white and looks very soft. The ocean water is blue and green. The water is calm with small waves. There are a few people on the beach. I can see a man and a woman walking together. They are holding hands. They look like they are a couple. Maybe they are on vacation. There is also a child building a sandcastle. The child is wearing a red swimsuit. In the distance, I can see some boats on the water. The sky is clear and bright blue. There are no clouds. It looks like a perfect day. I wish I was there. It looks so relaxing and peaceful. Do you see how I went from simple observations to more detailed descriptions and even added some of my own thoughts and feelings at the end? This is excellent practice because you are using different types of language. You are using descriptive adjectives. You are using present continuous tense to describe actions that are happening. You are making guesses and predictions. You are expressing personal opinions and emotions. You can make this exercise more challenging by setting a timer. Give yourself 2 or 3 minutes to describe a picture, and try to speak continuously without stopping. If you run out of things to say, look more carefully at the picture. There is always more to describe. Look at the colors, the shapes, the sizes, the positions of objects. Think about what might be happening in the scene. Think about what might have happened before or what might happen next. This exercise is also great for building vocabulary. When you try to describe something and you don't know the English word for it, write it down. After you finish the exercise, look up those words in a dictionary. Learn them. Then, try the exercise again using the new words you learned. This way, your vocabulary will grow naturally and you will learn words that are actually useful for expressing yourself. Let me now talk about an important aspect of speaking that many learners overlook. This is learning and using common phrases and expressions. You see, native English speakers don't always speak in perfect grammar sentences. In casual conversation, they use a lot of fixed phrases and expressions. These are groups of words that always go together and have a specific meaning. For example, when someone asks how are you, native speakers often respond with phrases like I'm doing well, not too bad, pretty good, or can't complain. They rarely say I am very well, thank you in casual conversation, even though that is grammatically correct. They use these common phrases because they are natural and comfortable. If you want to sound more natural when you speak English, you need to learn these common phrases. Don't just focus on individual words and grammar rules. Learn whole phrases and expressions that native speakers use in real life. This will make your English sound more fluent and more authentic. So where can you find these common phrases? Well, one of the best ways is to pay attention when you watch English videos or movies or TV shows. Notice the phrases that people use repeatedly. Write them down. Create a list of useful phrases. Then, practice using these phrases in your own speaking practice. Let me give you some examples of very common phrases that you will hear all the time in English conversations. When people agree with something, they might say exactly, absolutely, that's true, I couldn't agree more, or you're right. When they are thinking about how to answer, they might say let me think, that's a good question, well, or When they want to add more information, they might say by the way, speaking of which, also, in addition, or another thing is. When they express opinions, they might say in my opinion, I think, I believe, it seems to me that, or from my point of view. When they want to politely disagree, they might say I see what you mean, but, that's one way to look at it, however, I understand your point, yet, or I respect your opinion, though. Learning these phrases is important because they make your speech flow better. They give you time to think while you are talking. They help you organize your thoughts. They make you sound more natural and native-like. So I really encourage you to start collecting these phrases and practicing them regularly. Now, I want to address something that causes a lot of stress for English learners. This is the worry about grammar. Many learners are so afraid of making grammar mistakes that they stop speaking altogether. They think that every sentence they say must be grammatically perfect, and if it is not perfect, then they are failing. But this mindset is actually harmful to your learning. Let me tell you something important. Native English speakers make grammar mistakes all the time in casual conversation. All the time. They might say me and John went to the store instead of John and I went to the store. They might say I should have done that instead of I should have done that. They might start a sentence and then change their mind halfway through, creating a grammatically incorrect sentence. And nobody cares. The conversation continues naturally because everyone understands the meaning. Grammar is important, yes. You should study grammar and try to improve your grammar. But when you are practicing speaking, especially casual conversation, don't obsess over perfect grammar. The most important thing is communication. Can the other person understand what you are trying to say? If yes, then you have succeeded in communication, even if your grammar was not 100% perfect. Think about it this way. What is more important, speaking with perfect grammar but very slowly and with long pauses, or speaking smoothly and naturally with occasional minor grammar mistakes? I think most people would prefer the second option. Fluency and confidence are more important than perfect grammar in most real-life situations. Of course, there are situations where grammar is very important, such as writing formal documents, giving presentations, or taking English exams. In those situations, you need to be more careful with your grammar. But in everyday conversation, relax. Focus on expressing your ideas clearly. Focus on being understood. Don't let fear of grammar mistakes stop you from speaking. Let me also talk about the importance of consistency in your practice. Learning to speak English well takes time. It does not happen overnight. It does not happen in 1 week or even 1 month. It takes months and years of regular practice. But here is the key word, regular. Consistent, regular practice is much more effective than occasional intensive practice. What do I mean by this? Well, some people think they can study English intensively for a few weeks and then take a break for a few months. They might spend 8 hours a day studying English for 2 weeks, and then they don't touch English at all for the next 2 months. This approach does not work well because you forget what you learned during the break. It is like trying to fill a bucket with water, but the bucket has holes in it. The water leaks out. A much better approach is to practice a little bit every single day. Even if you only have 15 or 20 minutes per day, that is fine. 15 minutes every day is better than 2 hours once a week. Why? Because daily practice keeps your brain engaged with English. It keeps the language fresh in your mind. It builds habits. It creates momentum. Day by day, slowly but surely, you will improve. Think of it like exercising. If you want to get fit and healthy, you need to exercise regularly. You cannot exercise for 10 hours one day and then do nothing for the next month. Your body needs consistent, regular exercise to get stronger. The same is true for your language skills. Your brain needs consistent, regular practice to get better at speaking English. So my advice to you is this: create a daily English speaking practice routine. Decide what time of day works best for you. Maybe it is first thing in the morning. Maybe it is during your lunch break. Maybe it is in the evening before bed. Whatever time you choose, make it a non-negotiable appointment with yourself. Treat it as seriously as you would treat a meeting with your boss or a doctor's appointment. During this practice time, use any of the methods I have talked about in this video. Talk to yourself. Read out loud. Record yourself. Think in English. Have conversations with language partners. Describe pictures. Practice common phrases. Mix it up to keep it interesting. The important thing is that you do something every single day to practice speaking English. And here is another important point: be patient with yourself. Learning a language is a long journey. There will be days when you feel like you are making great progress. There will also be days when you feel frustrated and think you are not improving at all. This is completely normal. Every language learner experiences this. There are ups and downs. There are plateaus where it seems like you are not getting better. But I want you to know that even when you feel like you are not improving, you are still learning. Your brain is still processing and absorbing information. Sometimes progress happens quietly in the background, and then suddenly one day, you realize you can do something you couldn't do before. Maybe one day you will realize you understood a whole conversation without translating. Maybe one day you will realize you spoke for 5 minutes without stopping or getting stuck. These moments will come, but you need to be patient and trust the process. Don't compare yourself to other people. Some people learn languages faster than others. That is just a fact. But so what? This is not a race. This is your personal journey. The only person you should compare yourself to is yourself in the past. Are you better today than you were a month ago? Are you better this year than you were last year? If yes, then you are successful, no matter how fast or slow you are learning compared to others. Celebrate your small victories. Every little bit of progress is worth celebrating. Did you have a short conversation in English today? Celebrate it. Did you learn a new phrase? Celebrate it. Did you speak for 2 minutes without getting nervous? Celebrate it. These small victories add up over time. They build your confidence. They motivate you to keep going. Let me share with you one final thought before we finish this video. Speaking English is not just about memorizing words and grammar rules. It is about expressing yourself. It is about sharing your thoughts, your ideas, your feelings, your personality. When you speak English, you are not trying to become a different person. You are still you, just speaking a different language. Don't be afraid to be yourself when you speak English. Don't try to hide your personality or your sense of humor. Don't try to be too serious or too formal all the time unless that is your natural personality. Let your true self shine through. Make jokes if you like making jokes. Be enthusiastic if you are an enthusiastic person. Be thoughtful if you are a thoughtful person. The language is just a tool for communication. The important thing is the real you behind the language. So there you have it, my friend. We have covered so much in this video. We talked about why speaking English is difficult. We talked about the biggest mistakes learners make. We talked about many different practice methods you can use. We talked about mindset and attitude. We talked about consistency and patience. I hope all of this information is helpful for you. Now, the ball is in your court. You have the knowledge. You know what to do. The question is, will you do it? Will you make the commitment to practice speaking English every day? Will you push through the fear and the frustration? Will you be patient with yourself and trust the process? I hope your answer is yes. Remember, speaking English fluently is absolutely possible for you. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter what your native language is. If you practice consistently with the right methods, you will improve. I have seen it happen with thousands of students. There is no reason why you cannot be one of them. Before we end, I want to give you a challenge. After you finish watching this video, I want you to speak English for 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. Set a timer on your phone. Choose any topic you want. Maybe talk about what you learned from this video. Maybe talk about your goals for learning English. Maybe talk about your day. It doesn't matter what you talk about. Just speak for 2 minutes without stopping. Can you do that? I believe you can. And after you do it, notice how you feel. You might feel a bit awkward at first, but you will also feel proud of yourself for doing it. And tomorrow, do it again. And the day after that, do it again. Build this habit. Make speaking English a part of your daily life. Thank you so much for watching this video, my friend. Thank you for spending your time with me. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Please share it with your friends who are also learning English. And please subscribe to my channel. I am going to create many more videos like this to help you with your English learning journey. I don't want you to miss any of them. If you have any questions or comments, please write them below. I love hearing from you. I read all the comments and I try to respond to as many as I can. Also, if you have suggestions for future video topics, please let me know. I want to create content that is truly helpful for you. Alright, my friend. That's all for today. Remember what we talked about. Practice every day. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Be patient with yourself. And most importantly, believe in yourself. You can do this. I believe in you. Now go out there and start speaking English. Thank you again. See you in the next video. Goodbye.